back to Confidently Insecure, the podcast where we are absolutely sure we don't know everything. And y'all, I must be outside my goddamn mind because for some fucking reason, I thought it would be smart to have 7 people on one episode. Everybody, just to get this out of the way, on the count of 3, just talk into your microphone, just so we can get all the crosstalk out of the way. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hi,
I just want to talk to you guys about everything that I've been thinking about.
Make sure I'm with you.
Guys, I am so excited. Some of my very closest friends are here. I've got the Cooter Club, which is my text message group chain of these lovely ladies that I've known for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And one of my other lovely ladies, DEVIN LYTLE. You guys know her from BuzzFeed, from Ladylike, from a bunch of stuff on the internet. But we are not having you here today to talk about any of that stuff.
No, we're not. We're going to talk about my vagina.
Everyone's vaginas. Ladies, we are talking about fertility. We are talking about eggs. We are talking about babies. And I figured why not invite over some of my closest, dearest friends who have all in some way been involved in this conversation. So let's go around the circle, shall we? Let's start here to our left. This is Dana.
Oh, hey.
Dirty Dana.
It's Dirty D.
Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
You are from Florida. That's why I'm talking like this.
Correct.
So we immediately bonded over the fact that we are both dirty and disgusting. But we get shit done. We get her done, don't we?
Ain't that right?
Can you tell the audience what you do, what your age is, and just your kind of connection to fertility, egg freezing, that whole thing?
Yeah, I'm Dana. I'm 34 years old. I work in the biotech industry.
Oh, she's smart.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right? You weren't expecting that, were you?
Wow.
I'm a CPA, a certified public accountant. So I work on the finance side of the biotech industry. I've taken some time off in the last year, and once I realized I was going to take some time off, the first thing I started thinking about was something I didn't want to do at all, was freezing my eggs. So we'll talk a little bit more, but that has actually been postponed, but I'm going to be starting next week.
Wow.
For my month-long process, yeah.
You are in the thick of it right now.
Not yet, no.
Oh.
No, the procedure isn't next week. I start the process next week.
Didn't you already try? Okay, I'm getting too much into it. We'll come back to you.
I did try, and I tried, and I was told to hold off, take some supplements, and then just some of the other physical things weren't all aligned as they should be in order to have the best outcome, because it's expensive, so you want to make sure that your ducks are in a row, and so I've taken the time to do that, and 1 year later we're trying again.
Love that. Let's go on to Heather. First of all, we have to say congratulations, Heather. Congratulations. Because Heather just got engaged, bitch.
That is correct.
Heather, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Heather, and I'm 36. I just turned 36 on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, and it was your birthday.
It was, yeah.
Well, no one cares because you got engaged.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry.
Except for me.
Fair.
Except for me, but that's okay. I work for a video content company, so I'm in the digital space.
Oh.
And I did my IVF procedure, the whole process was last April.
Wow.
Yeah,
and something crazy we'll kind of dive into is you did that while you were just still in a relationship. You guys weren't stereotypically married or like doing the kids with a white picket fence situation, which I thought was really cool. I was like, holy shit, she doesn't give a shit. She just put them in the fridge.
Yeah. And also, and the primary reason for doing IVF, if the IVF is, I don't ever want to be pregnant. So yeah, surrogacy all the way. Sorry, Amanda. You did it so well. I could never live up to it. Really, that's it.
That's such a great point of view because I've totally forgot about that too. Thank you for introducing yourself. DEVIN LYTLE. I mean, I feel like so many people, especially this audience, already know so much about you, but drum roll, there's something that a lot of motherfucking people don't know about you.
Well, I used to work as an egg donor recruiter.
What?
Oh, wow.
What even is that?
Well, if you want to get eggs, if you if you have, I don't know, issues, or if you are, in a gay relationship, or if you're a single mom, whatever the story is, you need eggs.
Wow.
And so they have to recruit people, mostly college women.
I was going to ask, when did you do this? Because I feel like so many people know you in your
It was
20s.
like it was like my third job in Los Angeles.
It was out here.
It was out here. Yeah. I have crazy LA job stories.
Wow. And one of them, I'm sure, is about...
BuzzFeed.
And you yourself have actually donated your eggs.
I have donated.
I didn't know that. Wow. We'll get to it, but whoa, okay. Shadi! My girl, Shadi. Let's hear a little bit about you. What's your name? Where you work? How old are you? What's your story with eggs?
So, my name is Shadi. I'm 39. I froze my eggs like three years ago, and I actually had to do it twice. I was on that birth control where you only have your period like every 3 months, and I was doing that for like forever. I mean, it was great. And it really was. And I didn't have any spotting. I didn't have any of the issues that most people have. And then when I went to do the egg freezing, the first time I did it, they were like, oh, there's only like a few.
They don't want to know.
Yeah. And so what they said is, okay, just wait, don't do it this time, and then come back, let it like wash out, wait longer. So I did that, and then it was just a much better result. But I ended up doing actually twice, like the process.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you have to pay full price both times?
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky because like through my work, like my insurance was pretty good, so I was able to, some of the appointments, the ultrasounds and things like that, those were covered. But I mean, yeah.
And you point out your insurance with your job. I feel like it's already such an expensive process to think about having to do it twice. Like some people might not even afford to do that. Was it not even a question in your mind? Like you also did it sans relationship where you just like, I'm fucking doing this. I need to get it done.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's tough. I know that there's like programs out there. So I think if you don't have the money, I think just do research, because I know things exist that they help you to pay for it.
I did not know that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just knew I was going to do it.
Yeah.
I wanted to have options, and yeah, I mean, it's not a fun process. It's pretty much like one super annoying month to 6 weeks, but you do it, and it's done, and forget about it.
Well,
throw it in the freezer and
throw it in the back, forget about it, dust it off when you're ready. Thank you. Now we're moving on to Amanda.
I'm Amanda.
Hi.
I am 34 years old. I'm in sales. I did not do egg retrieval, but I have a baby.
Yes, you did.
His name is Little Bo Bear.
Baby.
He's 11 months old almost.
Yeah.
But, you just reminded me actually that before my husband and I got pregnant, I had two different doctors, like my OB and my just general doctor, and they both recommended, not knowing each other, to freeze my eggs. I just remembered that 30 seconds ago.
4 years old? Or how old are you?
Like, no, I had the baby at 33.
Yeah.
So 31 too.
They were recommending you to freeze your eggs then?
Because at the time, no plans on getting pregnant.
Right.
We were even married, I think, at one point during one of those suggestions. Yeah. But you just reminded me of that. So
wow.
I don't know.
And how long have you been married?
3.5 years.
And
4 years.
Were kids always the plan for you?
Yeah. I mean, at some point, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. At some point, we wanted kids. But.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. And last but certainly not least, besides myself, our lovely bookend over there, Stephanie. I don't know why I'm pronouncing you like you're an athlete. I mean, you are. You're an athlete in my mind.
Thank you.
What's your story?
I run a marathon. I am Stephanie. I am an attorney.
Ooh, yes, she is. Honey, she'll see you so fast.
I am 38 years old. I did the procedure twice, and unlike Shadi, I would not have done it had my insurance not paid for it both times.
Wow.
There are certain insurances, and they don't tell you when you get your benefits. I'm not telling you to read them because no one's going to. I'm not saying this because I'm a lawyer.
I know an attorney.
But ask your HR, because they don't tell you in the pamphlets that they give you, or they change them. Mine was called Progeny, so that's the one I specifically asked for. And through that, they paid for all of my appointments, the ultrasound, and everything except for the freezing.
Which is
Like $300, $250
a year.
But instead of being like 15 grand, I'll pay the $350 to freeze those little suckers.
Wow.
So I did it twice.
Why?
Because the first time, my sob story, this is Stephanie, I didn't actually get that many eggs. I don't know if, so basically when I went in, the doctor said to me, well, you look young, but your body isn't. And I was like, oh.
First of all,
usually how they say
you
it.
didn't walk out?
Excuse?
No, I should have. But once I picked my ego up off the floor, he was basically like, everyone is born with a certain amount of eggs. You don't know how many you're going to have. You don't know what factors impact it. So certain people may be 38 and have 20 eggs. Certain people may be 38 and have 0. You don't know until you go through and start getting it. I have a thyroid issue. They don't know if that's exactly what impacts it, but that might. And then I smoked. Unless my mom is watching this, then I
Then
quit.
she definitely did it.
I drink all the time. Unless my mom is watching this, then I won't get my glass of wine right now. So I don't know of any of those factors because there's people who smoke, there's people who drink, there's people who get a ton of them. So the first time I didn't get very many. I'm probably getting in too deep of this. Sorry.
No, this is literally what this podcast is for.
I have a question.
Yes, Amanda.
Do they know what I'm asking everyone actually, but I'm looking at you. Do they know how many eggs you have, or they don't know until they're actually coming out of your body? They're retrieving them.
They
from
check
you?
your follicles, and your follicles hold eggs, and you may have basically how many follicles you have is the minimum amount of eggs you could have, sort of. So like if you have 4 follicles, then you can probably get at least 1 egg out of each of them, but you don't like
Follicles, aren't those the tentacles on your ovaries?
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
So number of follicles equals number of eggs in your body?
You could have more eggs.
For lack of better words.
Yes,
Like,
so the
dumb
more
it down.
follicles you have, the better it is. Each follicle may have 1 or more eggs. My girlfriend just did this, and she had like 16 follicles but got 23 eggs.
Wow.
I had 4 follicles and got 4 eggs. So that's not a lot, and you're supposed to have 6 if you want to have, like it's supposed to be 6 eggs per baby.
Wait, what?
They differ. I got 15.
Wait, hold on. I thought it's 1 egg equals 1 baby.
No.
Well, not all
Naturally.
of them. Right. Not all of the eggs, when you freeze them, survive to like its highest capability.
So you want to grab 10 for your best chance
Yes.
at having 1 baby? Well, that seems mathematically, like poker-wise, you're not winning. Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm 29 and I have no fucking clue what we're talking about. I have no relationship. Amanda's already shaking her head. Like,
I'm already I'm not a doctor, but think about sperm. Like, think about getting pregnant naturally.
yeah.
What is it? A bazillion every time a bazillion
Oh, that's a
sperm
good
go up there,
point.
but only 1 baby
Yeah.
comes out.
So-
Maybe 2 if you're
Yeah.
lucky. we'll
Also,
call it.
they see, like, if you might have a certain number of eggs, but after the retrieval, they're like, okay, a couple of them are not good enough. So
What do you mean by not,
not
good enough?
healthy.
But
Like,
why
fully
can one
healthy.
be sick?
It's not sick. It's just damaged.
They were frozen.
So, like, what we did is, so I don't have eggs frozen. I
This
have
is Heather,
embryos
by the way.
frozen. Oh, this is
Newly
Heather. Hi.
engaged.
Yep. So what they do is then, so they basically mix. They marry the sperm and the eggs, and then there's like a half-life for each. They have to split a certain amount of times before they're healthy, and they're actually gonna move to the next phase in reproduction. So this is right? Okay.
We're asking Devin.
Like, I think I got this right.
That's why she's here.
So yes, so we had 14 eggs that we got, but then we put the sperm in all of them, and from there we had 6 eggs that went to the next stage, and then from there we had 4 that went to genetic testing to make sure that all the chromosomes are working and firing on all cylinders. And so now we had 1 that came back missing like its 16th chromosome, so you just don't pursue that as an option because it will come back.
Yeah.
So we have 3 embryos now, 3 healthy
So
ones.
That's
there's
right.
a
So your kids are on ice.
yeah, that's
You
different.
have to make that
eggs are on ice.
distinction.
Yeah.
Your
Yes.
kids are on ice.
So that's the only thing I was going to say is there's 2. So you have a husband, boyfriend, fiance. You have something that is
Something.
going to be
Yes.
with you for life. the way Shadi and I did it, and the way I assume Dana's going to do it, I don't know, you'll speak for that, is that if you don't have somebody to fertilize them, then I have 6 eggs in a freezer by themselves. You have the next step.
Mm-hmm. And they say the embryo is a better chance. Like they encourage.
Well, because that's not the next step. So I have 6 early runners, where she has after 15 or 16, you have them out the way that are ready to be put into someone's body. So they're 2 different things. And those are a different process, and yours costs more money.
Yes.
Mine was the initial phase. And so that should be a distinction of if you're getting them inseminated versus just chilling in a freezer.
That shows you from 14 or 15 down to 3.
Yeah.
Right?
So you can only imagine.
Each stage you lose.
Why do the embryos have a better chance than just the eggs on ice, and then do it later?
Well, it just depends on. I feel like, it's like taking to the next step. It's like the next set of testing.
You've already
you
cut out one.
And you can test all the eggs when they're fresh, because fresh eggs are better really than frozen eggs.
Delicious.
I know. Right?
Let's start like at the very beginning, because where I am in my pussy journey is I am in like a week. Actually, maybe it's tomorrow. I don't know. It's either tomorrow or in like 2
All
weeks.
menstrual cycles should now be called. Where are you at in your pussy journey?
Your pussy journey.
Are you on day 1 of your pussy journey?
Tell me about your pussy journey, sister.
I did not mean my period. I meant I'm going to get my eggs checked? Question mark. But it's not because I'm like. Not because like Jared and I are just having a kid, but also like I don't even know if we would do the embryo situation. So let's start at the beginning. Devin Lytle,
Hi.
Person who knows many a thing about this in being an egg recruiter. You sound like a farmer because
I'm a
you
harvester.
go out there and harvest human bodies.
Sure.
You also donated, which I want to get to a little bit about. Like, there's a chance you have a fucking kid out there.
There's not.
There's not?
No.
Why?
Wait, how? Elaborate.
Because I worked at the.
Not a sperm donor.
No, I wasn't.
For research? Huh? Were your eggs for research?
No. I worked at the
Let her finish.
company. So because of that, I was privy. I didn't know who the donor, or I didn't know who the mother was, but I was privy to like the information if it was successful or not.
Oh, so you just donated them, and they were like, "We're immediately going to try and use these."
Yes.
And we will tell you if it's successful.
Yes.
And
Because it's a whole different process. So I'm by no means an expert.
but she's knows things.
I know some things.
And we have a lawyer here, so she can always.
I feel like this is going to be like this is going to be like a patchwork quilt of knowledge. How feminine! I'm here for it.
Hashtag feminine.
Yeah.
Wait, with the disclaimer that no one knows anything because medical stuff is still evolving. Hashtag lawyer, hashtag disclaimer.
Right. Also, thank you so much. But also, I feel like the female body, because they haven't done research into the female body at all. It's just a mystery. It's a beautiful lotus flower mystery. You know,
Mine's more like a Venus
So
flytrap.
they told you that your egg donation was successful, but they wouldn't tell. Did they tell you that?
they told me it was unsuccessful. They told me because
Excuse me.
yeah. So basically,
But they told you.
yes.
Were you
Did they
shitting your
tell
fucking
sperm
pants?
donors?
No.
You weren't shitting your pants like, oh my God, there's a chance this lady's about to get knocked up by my egg.
It wouldn't have been my egg. I
do
mean,
you
yes,
mean?
it would be my egg, but it wouldn't be my child. So
Why?
it's based off of like, kind of your values. So it's based off of what you believe. And so I feel like
What?
For me, I don't believe that. I mean, the eggs are the seed of life, but I don't think that they are my life.
Whoa.
You
I have a
know?
question.
I kind of think that they are like bits and pieces that I can give to somebody to help them out.
Hold on. Hold the phone. Okay. What? Because I thought your egg is like your genetic set.
It is. Oh, it absolutely
I
is.
was going to ask, is it your DNA?
Yeah, so it absolutely
Got it.
is. But it's not going to be my partner who inseminates the egg. I don't know who the father is. I'm not going to raise that child. I wrote a letter to the birth parent or the parents. Well, they would be the birth parents. She would carry the baby, or a surrogate would carry the baby. And so
But you think environment makes the child. Love makes the child.
she gets like my genetics, but they like when it comes to like recruiting egg donors, you try very hard to get like, I don't want to say like the best genetics because that's very insensitive.
But you do.
It is a system that favors a certain type of people: Jewish, Asian.
Do you know if they
college-educated.
picked, like clicked on,
Yeah.
I want a Caucasian woman with this height, with this, I don't know how it
Typically,
works, but
they want, like,
did
a
they
certain-
pick you and your egg?
Yes. So typically they want a certain medical history to make sure that the baby's going to be healthy.
Right.
Oh, good. I'm out. Fucked up. They'll be like, oh, she's crazy. Never mind.
Yeah, they want to know your sexual partners.
Bye. I'm so out.
Can we elaborate on that? You
How
can cut
many?
this. Like, what are they asking? How many? Like, what are they asking?
Are there check boxes?
Yeah,
Like ranges?
for how long?
Or
Yeah, they want to know like basically how many people you've slept with, if there's a high chance of STDs.
But why wouldn't they just test you for that and skip
They
that
do.
question?
They
But
do.
like stuff like herpes, hides is like seasonal.
You imagine it's a really big investment. When I was in college a long time ago, they would pay you like $80,000 for your eggs, and you had to be 5'7", get a certain score on your SAT. You'd have certain grades. You would have certain heritage, and they would pay. I mean, they would pay you $80,000.
80?
Wow, that's not really high.
5,000 at the Florida State newspaper. Right now in the Tallahassee Sun or whatever that was. When I was in college.
In Florida.
Oh my God, it's $5,000. She's like, you're not giving your baby.
But you got to imagine back then too. It's like the medical was way worse. It was supposed to be really painful for a woman. Like I just remember hearing about it and being like, I was too short to do it because I was like, shit, I'll give you all of my eggs for $80,000.
You're Jewish and
I'm 5'3" and 3/4. So I fit all the education. I fit the background. I didn't fit the height requirements, and they wanted you to be 5'7".
Okay, hold on.
Damn.
I want to say, Danny, you just said an interesting thing where your mom said you're not giving away your babies for $5,000 because that's how I thought of it. But you're kind of changing my mind right here.
Yeah,
where you're saying just because it's your DNA,
Yeah, I mean, it's
it's not. You don't have that. You don't have that like whenever I adopt Barry out, I'm still be like, bitch, that's my dog. Like I am his mom.
You were his parent
Yeah.
for however long.
But you don't feel like an ownership over your egg?
I mean, yes and no.
Ooh,
You
do
know
you
what I
feel an
mean?
ownership over blood transfusion?
Or like your hair. Your
DNA.
DNA is in your
question.
hair.
But I guess
Great question.
But eggs are
Hair
meant
doesn't
to
create life.
Eggs
Sure.
are meant to create life,
Fair
and you're
point.
taught from such a young age that like women's, unfortunately, like evolutionarily, our job is to procreate. And of course, we don't subscribe to that, but that's what.
I just feel like because I'm
But
such a
so is
huge
the human race, though. I mean, so are men as well.
Yeah,
Honestly.
no, that's what I'm
I
saying.
mean,
Like,
personally, I just feel like I believe so wholeheartedly in abortion and a woman's right to choose. And I don't think it's life when it's a bunch of cells
Me neither.
in a body.
I don't
right?
think anyone in this room does.
Right. So like I don't think from that I think I just like mentally extrapolate that I don't necessarily like yes, it's life and it is potential, but I'm not ready for it and it's gonna die anyway.
Okay, I guess here's what
It's
I'm
gonna die anyway, so it's not mine.
Here's what I'm thinking then. Is like I'm afraid by donating my eggs that one day in 20 years I'm gonna be standing at Starbucks and the barista's gonna look at me and we're gonna lock eyes and I'm gonna be like,
Have a connection.
well, you're gonna like be like, that's my baby. Like that. I think we have to get that idea out of people's heads for people that want to donate. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I just it's not your baby though. I mean, it's
Yeah.
your genetic code, but like think about everything that goes. Yeah, seriously.
Right.
But think about everything that goes into like carrying a baby, into raising a child. Like I believe that parents are the people who raise you.
Right. Of course. Those are like your.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So then let's talk a little bit about how you would actually recruit people. Would you go out with flyers on like campus?
Oh no. It was all like advertised already digitally, like on Facebook and whatnot. And I had to sort through applications and call people.
So you were picking.
And then I was picking, and I would interview people, and then I would also kind of see them through the first steps of their process.
So when you're interviewing, do you evaluate this mindset and philosophy? Because if someone isn't really committed in that type of concept, are they really going to be ready to donate their eggs? I imagine you have to do a little psychoanalysis on this because it's a major commitment, you know?
Yeah.
Again, my mom's saying, give away your babies for $5,000. I imagine that has to be part of the recruitment process.
And you know what? One of the biggest problems with like donor recruitment is a lot of times the donors will flee. They'll run away.
What?
They'll like stop doing it. They'll like stop.
Do you still get the money?
process. The donors won't. The donors don't get the money until the very end.
So did you get money?
Oh, I did.
Even though it wasn't a successful pregnancy?
Right. Yes.
Do you get more if it is successful?
No.
Do they have the option to send you money for the rest of your life? Like, thank you so much for this gift.
No, I don't think so. And at least not at my company. I feel like because usually most donor situations when you get like a recruit, it's usually like blind. Like that you don't know who they are. And like I still to this day don't know who
I think most of the
feels
time they want it to be
appropriate.
anonymous
Yeah.
for a number of reasons, including, God forbid, you go on a killing spree. You don't want the little one,
Right.
or like bad stuff and
I mean,
good stuff. You don't want someone to find you if they have that idea.
We're a
that,
couple
like,
heartbeats away, sister. Like I'm just kidding.
How often do the donors flee?
Well, there's this one dramatic story, and this was actually the story that made me change my mind that I was going to do it, because I had the jump, which was crazy. First off, this place, really do your research if you're thinking about being a donor, because there are a lot of places that will manipulate women, and this place wasn't necessarily like that, but there was just some crazy business practices.
Can you elaborate?
No, it's just the woman who ran the business was crazy. Like she just was like a little bit like all over the place. But like the business itself was good. Like we really had great doctors that we worked with. But just like I have opinions about the woman in charge. Anyway, so the story that made me change my mind is a donor fled. They had this donor who, she was flying from, I guess, Texas to like California. They were flying her out, which is an insane extra cost because you have to put them up. You have to and this is multiple doctor's appointments and whatnot. And so it was her final doctor's appointment. They had already shot her up with this hormone that is like the final process, I'm sure y'all know, where it gets like all of those eggs, all of those follicles healthy and ready to go for harvesting. I know. The terms are so brutal.
So
harvesting,
awful.
recruit, blah, 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 blah. We
Pussy
need a
journey.
vernacular makeover.
Yeah, you should hire me to like define your your words.
Yeah, seriously. Let's put some yoni
Yeah,
energy
thank
on
you.
this. You know what I mean? But yeah, the mother called. And we it was a small office, so they put her on speakerphone because it was like a crisis. Basically, the donor landed in California, and then her and her boyfriend took the rental car and fled.
So was that the plan all along?
We don't know. I don't know.
Or she got second thoughts?
Probably.
Can you have second thoughts after you've successfully donated? Say, I want them back.
No. Absolutely. You signed so
What?
much legal paperwork.
You do. What? So you're shaking your head, Heather. Engaged. That's your.
We had
that's
to
your
do,
call word.
yeah, like before they'll do the harvesting, you have to sign all this paperwork saying in the event that you guys break up, like where do the eggs go?
What'd you say?
If we break up, I get the eggs.
Nice.
If,
But they're embryos.
yeah, sorry, embryos.
Oh, okay.
Right,
So you
thank
get the like pre-made baby.
Yeah, so then I would
Distilled
I would be in
Josh.
possession of them. Yes, exactly.
You break up.
That's
you
correct.
Have the privilege.
I have the privilege.
Kind of bearing his child.
Right. Yes, and then
Wait, he was okay. Sorry, this
yeah,
is maybe
wait,
a little
This
more
is
personal than
very
I asked.
fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, we tell people about it all the time. So,
So was that what does that conversation look like? That
well, you have to sign all this paperwork before they do that. So we just sat there on the couch and we were like, okay, what do you want to do? He's like, oh, you can keep them. I was like, okay, great. Sign them. DocuSign.
Very
And then he has to
intense.
DocuSign, and then the clinic does too. And then if we pass away, then we're actually donating them to a couple that can't have kids.
So if you both pass away.
Beautiful.
What if one of you passes away? Same sitch?
Yeah.
You,
Then
like,
the other
Josh
one would be
could
able to take possession of the embryos
And put it in another woman?
Yeah,
Well, they were going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
Surrogacy.
Oh wait, yeah,
Right.
no, but I mean like another woman to raise.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hey, if I'm no longer there, then
Who gives a shit?
let's see.
We're not coming up with
What's going
That
on? Yeah, and then there's also a lot of other stuff because when we said we wanted to do surrogacy eventually, you still have to do all the testing and all of this. I think it's FDA stuff. They have to do all these extra blood panels and they go through all of your medical history, all this crazy stuff because your DNA is going to be put into someone else's body, and so. Yeah.
So that's an interesting. I feel like we should dive into your story a little bit more about. I don't know how to ask this. Like, why don't you want to be pregnant? Because I don't really either. Like, I could maybe fuck with the idea of having a kid, but the idea of pregnancy fucking terrifies me. So, like, what's your take?
I've just never, ever, ever wanted to be pregnant. Ever since I was a kid, I was like, I just don't ever want to be pregnant.
I feel like we should also
I
mention
don't.
you're very small.
Yeah.
Does that have
my
anything
mom's
to do with
small.
it?
No, I mean part of it. I just don't ever.
You just knew.
Yeah.
You just knew.
I just never, and I was like, I just don't want that. I mean, I think it's great. Like, obviously, I'm like, wow, more power to you. Like, holy shit. But I just don't think I could do it.
But you
And I don't
want
to.
you want a kid with Josh.
Well, yes, but yes, but like there'd be a lot of things that have to be in place before we could like have a kid.
Yeah. So was freezing the embryos more like plan C,
Like a hedge.
D?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
eventually, like if we're 40 and we're like, okay, we can have a lot of support staff, then we'll have children. But yeah.
So you bring up the age, right? Like, I have to imagine, can we just quickly go around and say the age at which you froze?
So I'll be 34 when I freeze. This is Dana. They tell you, well, they can just say that scientifically there's a lot of data that your body changes at 35.
But then now they're disproving that.
Not necessarily.
Because those tests that they have come up with that at are like ancient.
There are more
because
tests now.
That was pre-antibiotics,
Well, that's what I'm
pre-supplements.
saying. Everything's a changing.
There are
Everything's a
more
moving
tests.
target. Like
Yeah.
there's not really a set.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I want to go around and say what age you were when you froze. So you'll
I'll
be
be
34.
35.
No.
36 and 37.
Oh, you have a kid.
36 and 37.
Okay, so was age something that was brought up to you by a doctor, or was that something you and Josh looked at each other and were kind of like, we should think about
Oh yeah,
fertility?
Yeah, so like every New Year's we always do this thing like, oh, what 3 things do you want to accomplish this year as an individual or as a couple? And so last year, one of those things, he was like, I think we should do the egg freezing. So I was like, oh, okay. And then we just did it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
You guys seem to have pretty quick conversations about giant decisions.
And I'm such a Capricorn. I'm like, that's fucking beautiful. Oh my God. Oh my God. Of
I
course.
know.
When's your birthday?
December 23rd.
Oh, so you're like an early Capricorn. Yeah.
I'm like, wow, simplicity.
Yeah. Well, I do like things
Love
very
it.
simple. Like if I need to make a decision, I'm like, yes, no. I hate like thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no. Yes.
Yeah, but I think like that kind of
Yeah,
ties into
yeah.
the conversation,
I know.
especially about motherhood, because that's something like Amanda, you say you always knew that was like part of the plan eventually, but was that until you met Brent?
Oh yeah, of course.
Because you used to party.
I know.
And I say
I
used to,
know.
like you didn't just get drunk last week. Like you still party, but I mean,
Yeah.
there was a emotional shift or like
Yes,
a life
absolutely.
shift.
I personally wanted to get pregnant or have a baby with someone I loved and wanted to be with for the rest of my life, and best father ever, obviously.
Yeah.
So, but to Dana's point, they call it a geriatric pregnancy.
Oh, yeah.
What that?
At 35.
Or 35.
Shut
You are a high-risk geriatric pregnancy. Yes.
Talking about verbiage, geriatric pregnancy.
Wow. And-
Yeah,
and
so
like-
my next child, if we have one, I'll
Geriatric
I'll
child.
be geriatric.
And like what we were saying, Steph, when you were talking about things are moving and they're constantly shifting, is that at a certain age they say like your fertility is divided in half or something at the age of.
I don't believe that shit.
No, they say with the data available now. Now, I want to preface this with getting pregnant has nothing to do with the quantity of eggs you have. It is all about the quality of eggs you have. So you may only be putting out 2 eggs a month, but they some high quality eggs,
Yep.
and you're more likely to get pregnant with a high quality egg
Exactly.
than 15 eggs that are not of the best quality. Maybe your lifestyle,
Right.
maybe your genetics, whatever that may be. But the research that is available as of today is that after the age of 35, your quantity of eggs starts to decrease. They have no indication of quality. They can't do any checks. However, they can quickly tell from an ultrasound and combined with blood work, but
That's
from
what
an
I'm doing.
ultrasound, the amount follicles you have.
I want to ask then the 3, Steph, Shadi, and Dana, about the freezing. Like you guys were all in various stages. Like Dana, when we first started having this conversation, you didn't have a boyfriend at the time. Now you do. Is the conversation any different? Shadi, knowing your shit's on ice, are you gonna like Sandra Bullock this situation ever? Steph, you also in a relationship. Like, how does your boyfriend feel that you already had these things ready to cook?
So
like
he was. So I'll tell you for mine. I didn't have a boyfriend the first time, and for those of you who haven't done it, it sucks. And I'm saying this as someone who only did it because it was paid for and was never sure she wanted to have kids. It is a draining, sad process. Not only is the verbiage bad, not only is someone telling you you're pretty, but your insides are old as shit. Like, things don't go well. You're pulled up with hormones, and you see all of these couples. So if you wanted to be in a couple, you're by yourself. You can have all of the friends. I think I called, Dana and Shadi offered to come over and give me shots. Like, Dana came over and actually gave me shots sometimes. Like, you have friends that are there, but it's nothing as difficult as actually going in. And I think that that's something that, like, people don't tell you is, like, you're getting shot up with hormones. It's a shitty. Can I swear on this podcast?
Fucking course.
Okay. Shitty process. I thought it was shitty. Some people with boyfriends or whatever. So anyways, I didn't have a boyfriend the first time. I cried a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, and then I also cried because it wasn't going well. Like some people come out and are like, I got all these eggs. I walked in and it was just like you go like at the beginning, you get shots and you go in like every other day. And it was literally like a Steph beating all the time. It was like, hey, you're not doing so well. Hey, you're not performing. Hey, you know, we're trying, but I don't know if you're ever going to do this. I don't know if this is going to happen. And for someone who wasn't even sure they wanted it,
You were like, what the fuck?
it sucks. And you know, maybe it's like
no control.
you have no control. You can't do anything. You can't look back because they don't know. You can't be like, oh, if I hadn't have smoked those 2 cigarettes, because
Right.
you don't know. And so that was excruciating. So I can only imagine. I've had a girl say to me, if I don't have a baby, I'll feel like I failed in life. Those are the things that I feel like need to be said. So the first time I didn't have a boyfriend, it sucked. The second time I had a boyfriend, the same boyfriend I have now.
Lucky.
He's great. It still sucked.
Yeah.
I did better. I got more eggs the second time. It's still not an easy process, even with him there. Having someone there to support is great. How
does he feel about?
Oh, he drove me to the appointment.
But I mean, how does he feel about you freezing your eggs? Have you guys even thought that far down the line?
So he is a gem, and he was just like, you know, you want to do this, we're going to do this, and I'm going to be here. Like I said, he drove me to my appointments. Really mature about the whole thing. I think he's happy about it because I think we still are going to try and have it like the old-fashioned way. Mm-hmm. But if the old-fashioned way doesn't work, then we'll get. We have
and
the backup.
You had all this paid for.
And that was
right.
yeah.
So it's not like a ton of pressure.
The only thing is now is something that we have another conversation for, so I won't have him watch this. Is if it gets to a point and we're planning on getting married and all the other things, but I don't want to get married and have to have a kid because of my age. I hate being told what I have to do. Mm-hmm. So what we might do is go. So we might do it again and do what Heather did, which is, or one of the things I'm going to broach with him is, let's do this a third time and actually get the embryos, and that way I have a little bit of mine, and maybe one of his if we decide to go that route. But that one I'd have to pay for, and so I'm less inclined because.
And can they take your already frozen chickies and just sprinkle their sperm in there?
I wouldn't do that because if he's not around, I don't want my little chickies to be in.
But no, if you guys were ready, if you're ready tomorrow, if he's like, I want the baby tomorrow, and you're like, hell yeah, and everything was working.
Transfer.
Yeah, could you just sprinkle?
I actually don't.
Could he come all over your cartons?
I hope so. I don't
freeze them.
I don't know if
you
you
thaw them out.
I mean, sperm is hot.
Yeah.
They would do it with his fresh sperm.
I would guess
They would
but
unfreeze
then
hers.
implant
'Cause not-
them immediately.
They pop that in the microwave for
have-
like a couple
It's like
seconds.
scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know anything about if they can do that.
They don't all live through the unfreezing process as well. That's why they want you to start out with so many, because it's about 4 stages till full fertilization, where you can go through the genetic testing. And so they would take hers off ice because she might lose some through that process. And then once it was unfrozen, they first would check his sperm, make sure he's healthy on that, take his fresh sperm, and then go through the fertilization process. And then through those steps, they might lose some eggs more through that process as well.
I think, when you get to a certain age, you're like, oh, you do want to have kids. You end up sort of maybe, being with somebody that's maybe not the right partner for you, right? And I think that this is for women is so empowering because it just gives you more options, right?
Yeah.
Because guys, they don't think about it, right? They think that they can always get, have kids at whatever age.
They never want to take the blame
Exactly.
either.
They can, sure. But what's interesting is, dating, being in my, late 30s, a lot of guys also feel the pressure. They want kids. It's actually really interesting.
And is that something you put in your Tinder profile? Like, my eggs are frozen, by the way. Do you ever have that conversation?
Yeah, I do. And guys are usually very happy about that because
Really?
if they want kids, they know that it's an option, right? So you generally kind of just feel it out. I think in general, when you're older, you kind of know what you want, and you're not trying to fuck around with guys that aren't in the same place as you are.
Yeah.
So I think it's just it's nice to have be able to extend that time and try to find that right partner to have kids with.
So do you ever feel the conversation about age? I joked, are you going to Sandra Bullock the situation? But is that something you even think about?
I know people that have done it, and I think it's just really hard to do it alone. You know, so I wouldn't rule it out, but I think it's tough. I think you need to be monetarily in a place to do it, because I think you need to have a lot of support. And luckily, I do have family close by, but I just think it's tough. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's tough to have kids with a partner, and I think it's just like so hard to do without.
And you did the process twice, and you said that your work only paid for some of it.
Some of it, yeah.
Is anyone willing to talk about the price of what was rent?
I think it's about 10 to 15 on average per.
time?
And I think if you go through the fertilization process, it's closer to 25.
Yeah, I was
Does
like
that sound
25.
right? 10 to
the
15.
embryos.
And my insurance did take care of ultrasounds and then like the blood work that you'd have to do.
Now, is that something you checked out before, or were you guys kind of like, we'll pay whatever to make this work?
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't really check it out, and then I
Like, when you get
called
a
my
check,
insurance,
you're
and they were
like,
like,
"Oh."
oh yeah, exactly. We were just like, okay, we'll just pay it.
What about the rest of you guys for price?
It was about the same as what Dana
About the
said, 10 to
same.
15.
Yeah, I think the procedure itself is 8. But fortunately, because I didn't work last year, I might have lower income on my tax returns. And then there is some.
I don't even know. I don't even think about, like, I'm just not even in.
Well, I deal with money too. So,
Yeah.
but I will say that the facility that we went to, which actually Shadi was the first person to go there. She recommended it to me, and that's also the clinic that I've been using, and Heather as well. And so
Were you
they.
the first one to do it? You
My
trendsetter.
friend had gone to them. They're just a well known in LA, and they're like a farm basically.
Are they
They're just
HRC?
SCRC.
Southern
Yeah.
California Reproductive
Yeah.
Center in Beverly Hills. I think they have offices throughout LA. But
Yeah, and I'll say actually that to that point, it's really important that you like your doctor
Yes.
and you feel
Very
comfortable. Because I
true.
actually had a first doctor who I just like didn't feel that comfortable with. You know, like they're all like experts and like highly regarded. But just like the bedside
Gut
manner,
feeling.
not like as warm and kind of, and then the second time around, I did have this Dr. Copians, who now I think these guys went to, and she was just like phenomenal and just was really
nurse.
What's that? And the
nurse, Julia.
yes. and the nurses,
Shout
'cause
out.
they're the ones that are always
with.
contacting you. So it's really important to make sure you feel like safe and comfortable, and because at the end of the day, like fertility is an emotional thing.
Yeah.
It's like Steph was talking about, like it is. So just you might as well feel comfortable around the doctor that's
Yeah,
helping.
and I mean, I bring up too, like the race thing, because I feel like white women have such a privilege. I can't even imagine what it's like for black women if they can't even be listened to at like a regular doctor appointments. Like when you're talking about something like fertility, I can't even imagine how different the conversation goes. Dev, as our well-known versed fertility expert. Oh shit, I wasn't supposed to say expert. Sorry. Can you talk maybe about some of those like gut feeling things that Shadi was talking about, like when you should maybe like go, this doesn't feel right, or like I don't like this person, or red flags maybe?
Well, as a donor, there's a huge problem with overstimulation. So they will actually, because they're young women typically who do this, and doctors, like I don't want to say they get greedy, but they want the best. They want the best situation. They want to make a successful pregnancy for another person.
Because then they get paid more?
No, I don't think it's they get paid more, but their Yelp rating goes up or something like that. So they can get overstimulated, which means you get too many hormones, and your body creates too many eggs, and you only have a finite amount. Like you sprout too many follicles, and it's really, really, really painful. Ooh. And it like lasts for like 6 weeks. So if you feel like your doctor, if you just have this gut feeling like your doctor's a little bit too invasive about like how many eggs you have, and just
Make
has
you
like
feel bad.
make you feel bad, has a God complex. Tear that shit up. Like talk them down. Don't be afraid to go to the front desk and be like, what the actual fuck?
And that's something that I feel like we're learning how to do with figures of authority. Like I think it's happening with the police force right now. I mean, we don't have to get into that conversation, but I feel like people aren't afraid to talk back to the cops to a certain degree.
I'm sorry. Maybe this is like my white woman privilege, but I always have the mindset of being like, I'm fucking paying for this. You know,
like doctors scare the ever living shit out of me. I have the hardest time standing up to and like saying that like this feels off, or like you're wrong, man. Did you guys all go to women doctors?
yes.
No.
Stephanie.
I have a question. Is there a world in which these women that are donating, something could backfire for them? Because you said they overproduce with hormones and whatnot, and they're dropping so many eggs. Is there a world in which 10 years later they're trying to have a baby on their own with their partner and it's not working?
When I was recruiting, I got that question a lot, and there's not enough evidence or research to support that that's how that works. And it's not something that, because your body, it's a natural cycle. So even after like 1 month after you after you like donate or like do IVF, your body refreshes.
Right. They can't prove it.
And that's what my doctor had said, is that everyone has a different amount and there's no way of telling. So you can't tell if doing that surgery impacted something or not, because there's no way to be able to, you can't get the beginning amounts. You can't figure out the middle. So you can't decide or tell whether it impacted.
And it's also like, I mean, your doctor told you to wait a year, right? Did you have to wait a year?
No, she did.
Someone's doctor told you to wait a year.
Well, I had already started out. I had thyroid issues when I first went in and got all my blood work done. It took me about 6 months to straighten those out. And then when I went in, they said there's just not a lot there. We recommend supplements for at least 3 months, because
That's how long it
the
takes
only data that really comes out of taking supplements is taking it for at least 3 months.
Right.
So, to your point is that just because you didn't have a successful look the first go round doesn't mean in 3 months it could be completely
That's
different.
also what my
That's what happened
acupuncturist told me.
That's what happened to you, Stephanie, when you had like your first go round and it was like, okay, but then the second one was more successful.
They tell you too, they'll give you different ideas and they don't know whether it's going to work. And that's the thing that you need to remember. And like one of the things that like was really helpful for me the second time is being really kind to myself, which is what everyone says. Like, but the first time I was so mad, I was like, I did this wrong. And the second time I was like, my body's doing the best it can do. And so like acupuncture, I tried that because that's what they'll recommend. Wow. I hated acupuncture. I am not a Zen person. So sitting there for an hour with needles in me was like, made me so much more anxious.
We know you.
I mean, like, and by the way, I'm on 3 calm pills normally. No, but like I like can't sit there. And so finally the acupuncturist, she was like, you seem like you're not enjoying this. And I was like, does anybody? And she's like, everybody.
Most people.
And so then I went back and my doctor was like, if you don't like it, then don't do it, because the whole thing is it's supposed to do different things. And so you have to figure out like what works for you. And the second time I literally, and this is so embarrassing, but legitimately true, I woke up every morning and I was like, I am a chicken. I am a chicken. And I would like smile and be like, I'm going to harvest eggs. And I got 4 more. So the first time I got 2 eggs, the second time I got 4. Yeah. I don't care how embarrassing I am. Like I got double the amount of eggs. And by the way, still not a lot, but for me, I was like,
it's affirmation.
Daily affirmation.
And it's just like something that made me feel like better. And it was the best I can do. And maybe looking back, it wouldn't have changed anything, but just being able to, and then it made me laugh. And like laughing in the morning was like,
well, that's what they say about women who believe they can't get pregnant. And then as soon as they stop trying, it happens.
Well, it's the stress and stuff.
It's the stress and stuff. So then for the ones who have done the process, can we go through, like, if someone is listening who is thinking about, like, okay, I want to freeze my eggs, what are the steps? Like, I think I'm technically taking the first step by going just to put a fucking wand up in there and a flashlight and go, like, who's in here? Like, what do we do to see?
Well, it's different for a donor and if you have IVF.
Can you explain what IVF is?
So IVF is the process of harvesting your eggs.
What?
It's the drugs. It's just the whole process of like.
No way. That's what that means.
It's just it takes a long time because the whole process is like 6 weeks.
Intravenous fertilization.
Yeah.
Why do people? Why is there any stigma against IVF? I thought IVF was like. There's a lot of stigma against women that do IVF.
I know somebody right now, and they are currently doing IVF, and they're removing a chromosome from the husband in this case that has an interesting, very rare genetic disorder. They're removing a chromosome and then creating the embryos in the petri dish, for lack of better words. And when they're going to go on ice soon, and when they're ready, they're going to
test it to make sure that genetic thing is not. Okay, so going back to like, why is there any stigma against IVF? Because I feel like, is it the idea that you couldn't do it, you couldn't harvest it naturally?
There's so much pressure on the female body to breastfeed, to have normal periods, to be a certain size, and there's stigma on the human for any female who wants to, or any female body person who wants to harvest their eggs. There's any stigma if like a person wants to take control of their body. If we want to say that we're autonomous, if we want to take control of our time, there's fear. There's so much fear wrapped up and like lack of knowledge when it has to, I mean, fuck, they used to only base research about heart attacks off of the male body. And then we saw so many women dying of heart attacks. And it's because heart attacks are completely different in the female body.
And don't most people have heart attacks statistically on Monday morning?
I mean, that didn't make sense, but for me, it would be a Tuesday.
Is that tomorrow? No, that's today.
That's tomorrow.
I survived today.
So the first step is
Well, if you're-
distinguishing between IVF and being a donor.
Because if you're a donor, they sync you with the mother. So you have to go on.
They period sync you?
Yes. So you go.
Hold the fuck on.
Right. So they would sync you with the mother. So you
How
would
do
go
you
on.
sync full moon? Wolf.
Yes. You paint
Witchcraft.
It's like the Lion King where they paint blood over your head and you like go naked into. That would be amazing.
I'd sign up for that immediately.
Yeah, just go out with the woods with some lady and be like, let's talk, girl.
I think that's like a first date for me. Sorry. Go on.
Anyway, they sync you with birth control. And that was actually the worst part for me. And I'm like, everybody's different. Everyone experiences IVF or we're donating differently. But my body hates birth control. Oh my God, I just turned into a crazy fire monster every single time. Every single time. And so that was the worst part, those 3 months where I was
Why does that
sinking.
matter?
Because they want usually when you get a donation, you go and do like you insert them immediately. Either you make an embryo or you give it to your surrogate or you give it to yourself.
Oh, so you need to be like literally in sync because it's like we got a hot tamale over here. We got to put it
pass
in
that
the
over.
oven.
Pass that puppy over within a matter of like weeks.
If you're donating, first step is syncing with the mom. If you're IVFing, first step is.
Oh, well, there's a lot of doctors around.
OBGYN probably and say
How you're doing
what
it.
I did was I just said I am looking to freeze my eggs. Can we just check in and see how we're doing down there? So she did an ultrasound
Which
and
is
some blood work.
Vaginal.
A vaginal ultrasound.
Because I think when people think of ultrasound, they think of what Amanda did. What ultrasound about?
They do both.
Ultrasound is just
they
like
do
a
both.
form of a form of technology where they use.
Is it called a transvaginal ultrasound, right? Yeah, because
it's a wand.
it's a big old wand.
It's like a wand. No, not at all.
Great, but
There's like pressure, especially once you're through the process a little bit more and you're really bloated because your eggs are growing, and then it's just weird, but it doesn't hurt.
Okay.
Blood work.
So that and blood work and
And
the
so-
combination of the two, they can probably give you an idea of where your your quantity is at.
Which you're talking about, that doesn't necessarily speak to your quality, which
Correct.
you would find out once they remove them and try
To an
and.
extent, and they find out even more once the embryo is fertilized because then they can actually do genetic testing.
Okay,
Earlier
okay.
on in the process, the egg by itself, and it's not only just the fragility, but obviously the DNA comes from the embryo itself. So then they can run genetic testing.
and then after that, you still don't know if your kid's going to be an asshole or not. Like, there's so many factors, you know.
So I guess I'm skipping a couple steps. So you go OBGYN and you're like,
That's what I would do if I was, and honestly, anyone out there at all, because just do it. There's no reason why this ultrasound shouldn't be performed in your 20s. We go to the gynecologist every single year. It takes 5 minutes, and
should
it gives
be
you an
standard.
idea. They should
I
absolutely.
think it will
But is it
be.
covered by
I think
insurance?
I think it will be at some point.
Well, that's
You know what
I think
Women
they're
have to
advocating
advocate
for it.
that.
Yeah, I don't know if Planned Parenthood is, but I've started to hear more rumbles about advocacy for including this
Right.
in your annual checkup. It might not be included, but
'Cause that's
is
information you should
$150
know.
cheaper than $15? Yes. I'm not
So-
saying that,
There's also like tech companies that are like actually working on building things that are like these kits that you can like send out. So
amazing.
there's like innovation happening in that area because I think there's a recognition that we need this.
Because what if you were born with less eggs? You don't
You
know
wanna
that.
know.
And if I know I'm tracking from 23 to 28, like I'm 33 to 38, then I'm probably going to make plans to freeze my eggs sooner than later.
That's all my fucking Facebook pages right now. It's just
Yeah.
ad after ad after ad of know your fertility better. You need to figure it out. And I'm like, shit, do it. I guess I fucking do. So that's why I'm going to get my balls counted. And then so after I'm like, great, I got balls, but I don't know if they're any good balls. You talked about shots. What?
You have to put shots in your belly.
So
I gotta go to butt.
they can
No.
There's two ways to do. Well, there's probably more than 2 ways, but the 2 ways we know about. I'll talk about ours, or you can talk about ours too. And then Heather had hers done, but you go in. They do you go in, you find your doctor. They do an ultrasound. When you're ready to start doing it, it takes sometimes like 10 to 14 days, depending on It all depends. Everything depends on how your body's reacting, how you're responding, how big your eggs are growing. That changes the type of medicine, the amount of shots you're going to get, your reactions to it. So there's never going to be one podcast that's going to tell you a step-by-step because everyone's different.
What the fuck are we doing?
What are we even doing here?
But I gave myself 3 shots a night. You have to, and some of them, like Shadi helped me with, you're like legitimately like Nurse Jane by the time you're done.
Yes.
You like put in one, then you put it into another, then you shake it up and twirl it around, then you like sit there, you pinch a little bit of your fat, and then you like, and then
You're not a doctor.
You don't.
I am now. You should. If you guys needed a shot, I could give anybody a shot.
Okay, but so I don't mean to go back, but so you said I'm ready to have IVF. What you guys did was technically IVF.
Yes.
And what you did was technically IVF.
Yeah, it is IVF.
You just went the stage further.
Got it. So you guys say I'm ready. They say we need to up your count even though you already had a good number, or like I say good, like
Yeah, so like I think she was saying there's like a different protocol that they're gonna say this combination of drugs for this amount of time, and then by the way they're doing ultrasounds. You're going in every 3 days. Sorry, you're going in every 3 days or so for an ultrasound and for blood work. So there's blood work they do too.
every 3 days.
Yeah,
Who
that's
has
why,
the time?
Well, that's why it's tough, right? I had to go from my job in Santa Monica to Beverly Hills every
That
few,
traffic? Bye.
Right, but yeah, I would do it early in the morning and come back. So you just kind of work around it with your schedule, but
And you have to wear long sleeve shirts because if you don't tell people, you have shots and bruises because you're getting blood every day. So if you're not doing something like this or you have the bandage over it, looks like you're a heroin addict.
Well, can I ask both of you, were you open about when you were doing it? Like, were you talking to stuff? You're shaking your head no, Shadi, you're not.
I didn't talk, and there was no one I was like close enough to at work to talk about it, but it didn't really impact my job.
Yeah.
Like, I actually took a work trip when I had during it too, and
You had to bring your
I took the needles. They give you like a piece of paper that says you can do it. Yeah, I mean, like, I think to Steph's point, you're so much stronger than you think you are with it.
Yes.
And I was like, my aunt at some point had to like do something where she had to give herself shots. I just thought it was the craziest thing. And then the first time I did it, I totally fucked it up. I remember I like wasted some of that, and that stuff is gold, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my god, like,
what is it?
I mean, it's just like
Hormones.
they're like follicle
Hormones, yeah.
stimulating hormones, like, or they're just different combinations of them. But
Couldn't
it's
you
expensive.
sell it on the street?
I think they're only good for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Is it like
So
a
you-
and they
drug?
send it
they're-
refrigerated and it's like a whole.
and
then
they're
they
specified to
expire.
your body.
Yeah.
So is there any
Cocktails.
world in which I go in 2 weeks and they're like, yeah, you got lots of them, and I'm like, great, take them out right now? Or to your point,
have to
Shadi,
do.
you're saying you have to do what?
You get a protocol of drugs.
You
So
have
just-
to, no matter what. Even if they're
I
pristine.
think so.
Well,
Because
I think
they're. Sorry, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
No, I was going to say, I think so. One other thing that I want to say before I forget is I did actually, I think the second time I didn't end up needing all of one medication, and I did actually donate it back to them because it was still good. So somebody, could use, so there are those, but it's just that they do expire after a certain amount
It's
of
like
time.
Botox.
So I did.
Correct.
So when I was getting my shots every day, you get a different one. I didn't tell anybody. I was embarrassed about it. I was just like, not because like I don't think people should do it, because I do, but because the first time I did it, I was single and by myself, and I felt old. It like, there's nothing that's like boost you up. There's no filter for IVF. I felt old, I felt shitty, and I didn't tell anybody. And so I actually, because the person who did my surgery was my friend's dad, which sounds weird, but he's like one of the best ones in Southern California. He's amazing. I know he said that, but he's just like tapering expectations. He's a really, really great person. It was a fantastic thing. But he gave me a doctor's note because, again, the things that I do have an impact. And so if I fucked up a contract and they were like, you're on medication that may not make you think so well, like there could have been implications for me.
Well, that's a good point, that
And so-
you're not thinking about like not only the physical stuff that's happening to you, but like
I was stressed.
there's mental things that any medication can do.
Oh my God, they're hormones. So when I went on them, I turned into a fucking fire monster. I cried. I remember one day I went for one of those doctor's appointments, and I couldn't drive home.
Wow.
I was a mess. They gave me my own doctor's
We
room
should
to
be
cry.
best friends. I sat outside and just cried in the car. I just sat there.
You just cry. It's just so
really
many
selling
hormones.
this for me. But you all talk about how you're so glad you did it, yada yada yada. When do you know your bacon and eggs are ready to be?
They tell you go in every single day or every other day. They take your blood and they're like, it's growing, it's growing, it's growing.
What do you
See
mean? The eggs are getting
The follicles are certain
You
size.
can feel it too. You're like,
You get
oh my
bloat.
God.
It looks like you have like a little.
You have a little bloat. It's like your ovaries ate a Thanksgiving dinner.
And so for you, Heather, how was your extraction different from?
Well, the
Y'all's
process
extraction?
is different because we knew that we were making embryos, so you have to actually test to see like your follicle count, and then your partner has to also test and make sure his little swimmers are all up and running. So we did that, and then you also have to do a test to make sure you guys don't have the same genetic markers. So yes, and then
Great
so
reveal.
so like mine came back fine. Like I had like 3. Oh, they're genetic mutations. So I had 2 genetic mutations, but mine didn't match his. So then it's fine to proceed with the next step. So, but
What
we know
were your
people.
mutations?
Mine was.
Is it
I honestly
something
forget.
where you would hear like that's ADHD and you're like, I don't want my kid to
No,
have ADHD.
it would be
I'm
like
not doing it.
I mean, there's all kinds of things, and he's also an Ashkenazi Jew, so there's other things that come up specifically.
It could be anything. It could be like a cilantro mutation.
Yeah, but
I
if
mean,
like,
I
I
wanna
have
know.
if I have it and he has it, then the likelihood it's, I think it kicks it up to like 50% or higher, and the likelihood of your kid having it is like much higher. And then if I have it and he doesn't have it, then it's less than 1%. But it's interesting because if you have siblings, they could have the same mutation. It's 25% chance that they do. So if they decide to procreate, it's good for them to know, for them to tell their partner.
So it's
So they could be carriers too of the same
sort
genetic
of similar,
mutation.
like BRCA.
They test
genetic
for
mutation.
350 genetic disorders.
Yeah, mutations. Yeah.
I got tested, to Heather's point,
For what?
350
All the mutations.
potential- so after you're 35, you have to be tested for these.
You're not.
I know, but nowadays you can just choose to do it. So insurance didn't cover it.
You're doing this when you're
I
telling
was
your
pregnant.
gyno.
Yeah, I was pregnant.
Oh, you were pregnant already.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's Amanda, the pregnant woman.
Okay, I was like, wait, why would they just test like without
so
your permission after 35?
They highly encourage getting genetic testing. To Heather's point, and they test for 350 different things, and I came back with nothing. So therefore, they did not care to have Brent tested. Because it wouldn't matter because it didn't
'Cause you have
match.
nothing that's
So I
mutated.
had 0, so it didn't matter if Brent had 100.
Look at you, fucking over here, A+ student. Okay.
Clean
No, but I think
DNA.
like what you guys are all
Kidding.
saying is
But
like
it doesn't matter.
It's going to be so different and so individualized, the experience, where it seems like I know some people who like loved being donors or like have been a surrogate multiple times, but I think like this is such a individualized experience that I don't want any of these stories to like turn you on or turn you off towards it. It really is about, like Shadi, like you said, I think we are kind of having this revolution of like taking the power back of our future, or whoever said that, about taking control of your body, right? Because I think that's a very new thing.
Let's say Shadi has her eggs frozen, or anyone here with frozen eggs, and they just choose not to have a child at some point. Can you then sell them? 10 years later,
Would you
and
sell
maybe
them?
collect
Mine's
a
on the
paycheck?
donation
I'm
list.
just saying.
Yes.
You're on the donation list?
They ask you, might ask me like they asked you what happens, and it's if you don't use them, if you don't want them, what do you do? Would you donate? And mine was like, will you donate them to a family, or will you donate them for science? And I thought, because of my age and because it would be probably better for them to test the age, so I have mine for research. Because I felt like I'd be responsible if someone couldn't use my egg, and so I was like, research.
But can you get paid is what I asked.
Yes.
I don't know. I can't.
Amanda's like, I know I can have a baby.
The interesting thing is, actually, Amanda, if you wanted to, like, say Bo is your only baby, if you wanted
Great
to
memory.
Sell Bo.
donate now, you would make more money because you've had Bo. So, like, if you were, and that's the beautiful thing, and that's why I decided to donate in general, is because back to that story I was telling later, when the donor fled, they put the mother on the line, and she got on the phone. We're all expecting, we're bracing for her to chew us out as the business, and she gets on the phone. She talks about how she checked all the boxes in life, and she was so calm. She's like, I went to college, I found the right guy, we waited until we had money, we created a home, and then we were ready, and this is all we wanted to do. And now I feel like I put this pressure on this girl to provide for me. is she okay? I just really hope that she's okay. And that was the moment that I was like, I feel like I'm not using these eggs. They're gonna die. I want to give them to somebody who, especially if they're going to pay me, I want to give them to somebody who, will create life with it. Yeah. And they are just bits and pieces of my DNA. And
that is really, really.
And I want to help women. I mean, I've committed my life to helping women. I want to make sure that I can give.
Did you disclose how much can you disclose how much you made?
Yeah. So for an example, I made about $10,000.
Damn.
But it depends on who you are. So Asian and Jewish women, you typically make more, just because it's high in demand. And also specifically, if you've had a baby before, you make a lot more money. And then if you've had successful donations, you up your price more and more and more. Whoa. So I worked with a woman who had donated 6 times, and she just was making money on the side. She's like, I don't want to be pregnant. She got okay with the process. She had a pretty easy time, and she just kept doing it.
So then, for someone like Kim Kardashian, say, when I found out that, I'm going to say this in quotes, she only paid $100,000 to her surrogate, does your financial situation place you in a better position for success? I mean, obviously not, right? You could pay $1 million and there's no guarantees, but if you are wealthier, do you get any better?
Yeah, they price
treatment.
They kind of price out. I mean, this sounds really shitty, but they do price out donors like that.
Well, yeah, we did a BuzzFeed video about it where you would we had 4 different women in different stages of their lives and just different backgrounds of every situation, and you literally get a price, a bounty on your head of what your eggs are worth. But I think, what can people do if they're listening to this and they are kind of going that sounds like something I'm interested in, because I'm not, when you just said I'm not using them, I was like, oh fuck, I'm not using them. Every month I'm just bye, see you never.
Yeah, exactly. See you never. Bye.
Yeah, there is something to just not being wasteful. We're all about environmental.
And by the way, I love this conversation because I feel like a lot of women are going to watch this or listen to it and go, please donate your eggs. I can't have a baby. And so thank you so much for doing that. I think that's amazing. And I had a baby very easily. So you donating your eggs like you did honestly makes me want to tear up.
Oh,
and I don't even. I know. I have a baby. I'll fucking cry over everything.
Oh my god! Yeah, but you change. You fundamentally your DNA completely changes. So what then could you say to maybe some people that are listening, just about how you can get involved with donating?
I think it's because, oh my god, the industry is so patriarchal. I think the first thing, and if anyone's lightly interested, is to reshape your mind around it.
Totally.
I'm saying it's not easy. IVF is different for everybody. Some people, I had a pretty easy time. I mean, it still sucked at certain points, but comparatively, I had a pretty easy time. But, you still have to shoot yourself up with shots. I was wondering, and when you first do it, you make the mistake. It's just so bad. First off, on your belly, there's a point where you're numb and you can't really feel the shot going on. But did you guys do the thing where you wipe yourself with the alcohol swab and then do it too quickly and it stings really bad?
I made all the mistakes.
Because the alcohol, oh my god, that hurts so bad. And then you're like, am I dying? Oh my god, yeah. But yeah, just empower yourself. This is something that, it sucks a little bit right now, but they haven't done enough medical research about it. Yeah. And we as women have to take our power back. Yeah.
Well, I like what you said, and Dana, we hadn't really touched on yet that you're about to go in for, your second go round at.
The attempt.
I
second at that.
You're about to start the shot situation, right? That's what you mean by the second attempt?
Yeah, I went in before, and the nurse actually was like, look, this sucks, and you kind of don't want to do it if everything isn't lined up great. She said, you certainly can, but if it were my sister, I would say take a few months, do the supplements. I wouldn't want to put you through this process
you're at.
How
are you going into it this second time?
I mean, I've physically, the other things have gotten into line, and I'm just of the mindset I'll get as much as I can. If I have to do it twice, I'll do it twice. The other thing they said was a lot of times after you're stimulated the first time, you're usually you'll get more eggs the second time because your body's kind of prepped for it, and it's already naturally stimulated to begin with. They also said they've had people get pregnant naturally a lot of times after they've already done this because everything's kind of amped up down there.
She's ready to go.
Yeah. So better be extra cautious.
I wrote a pilot that now I'm wondering if even is valid, but I had wrote a pilot that a woman donated her egg so that she could get money to freeze her own eggs. Is that something you can do?
Absolutely.
So you can donate to then be like, now I actually just want to. They should do like a 2-for-1 system like that.
They should. I mean,
because now I'm thinking about it. Like after you really shifted my perspective, I'm like, maybe I should. But no one would pick me. No one would pick me. Are you out of your mind, bitch?
Not true.
No one would. No.
Healthy, young, fresh eggs.
No.
And you're tall.
I mean,
and smart.
to be
Guys,
fair,
this wasn't meant for you to now compliment
I mean,
me.
you're
But
beautiful.
what I mean was,
You're beautiful
I mean, I
and
think
you're
they're just
amazing.
facts.
But if you're
Amazing skier, very amazing. She's like a Nordic princess.
you're a fucking goddess.
I got a
However,
migraine and puked everywhere and had a panic attack. Yeah, she has a beautiful memory.
if I were to donate again, I wouldn't be selected because now I'm on Lexapro.
Oh, same.
You can't be on any SSRIs.
Oh, so then I can't even do it anyways. Well, then never fucking mind. We're all gonna die alone. If we could all just go around one last chance and just say maybe something about like your experience in conjunction with fertility, whether it be egg donation, egg receiving, IVF. That I mean, a lot of young women listen to this podcast. I didn't mean to emphasize.
No pressure. Like every young woman I know.
But like I think, like you said, Amanda, this is going to be an impactful thing. So if you could leave our audience with one thing, I've struck out too many times tonight to keep going.
And yet we're still in love with you.
Thanks, babe. Thanks for staying with me. Let's start with where we started. Dana?
Sure. This is Dana, and I would just say knowledge is power. Go as soon as you can, as early as you can. Get the diagnostic testing done because the more information you have, the better decisions you can make. And, just be kind to yourself. You can't control this. I got very emotional when I was told that there, weren't as many. I had the egg count of a 43-year-old. That's what they said. So it's very emotional. Have a support system.
Don't say anything if you don't have something nice to say or whatever.
But they need to temper expectations.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, so it's just be kind to yourself, have a support system, and I'm not bashful to talk about these things, but a lot of the women here, help me get through that as well. So it is emotional, and get tested early as soon as you can. If you're in your 20s, definitely just do a check-in, see where you're at.
It's never too early.
It's never too early. It's never too early.
Right?
At least then you can make plans. You can see where you're at.
says about making plans.
Okay.
What's that called?
Life happens when you're busy making plans.
Whatever. Okay.
Yeah, or you at least have an informed decision versus a very emotionally based, and you're rushing into something that you're not really ready for. At least then, you have some time on your side. But yeah.
Heather. Darling.
Ditto to what Dana said.
Plus one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. I think if anyone has any question, if they should do it, or if they're even curious, then I think at least just researching and starting the process and going down that hole, you can always stop at any point. So may as well.
It's not going to hurt you. I mean,
No.
it may physically.
Yeah.
But-
But I mean, yeah.
Knowledge is power.
Yes.
And congratulations on getting engaged.
Thank you.
Devin, expert.
Sexpert. Yeah, sure.
Your brain is
Whatever.
so wonderful. What say you?
I say that the female body is just like this magnificent, beautiful. I mean, you know me. I teach dance. I teach S Factor. So
You
I'm
guys,
like-
we have to go to one of her pole classes. And it was the most incredible. All the lights are off and there's no mirrors. So like, you're just in your own fucking thing. I did not give a shit. I was ready to take my top off and like
To be fair, wouldn't you do that now?
I mean, we just
on
empowered
camera.
her.
Yeah, yeah, we have to go to one of our classes. It's fun.
Yeah, I just like believe so wholeheartedly in the female body, and I mean in all bodies. I think they're so fascinating, and I just think that yes, the process kind of sucks, but the process of women voting for the first time kind of sucked. Like we're just now making strides in female and women's health. And so if we don't participate in our own health, what the fuck are we doing?
Amen. I don't have anything intelligent to say. That's why I invited all of you here to teach me about your experiences. But holy shit, wow, am I so lucky. You guys, like this podcast was supposed to be one person, I think. I was like, Heather, would you come talk about your eggs? And then someone was like, I got my eggs. I don't have my eggs. And I was like, wait a minute. I am surrounded by like powerful pussies. So I'm so lucky. Like really, you talk about getting a support system, like find your fellow sisters who have done this. And I'm sure it's one of those things where like, maybe we're lucky because we're in LA and we're very liberal, but like find your people and like don't be afraid to ask questions, I think, when it comes to this. I know I said I had nothing to say, but apparently I did. Shadi?
Yeah, I mean, I would echo all the sentiments, but, I think it's just don't make assumptions, because don't make assumptions that, about that you can just have kids and no matter what age you are. And, don't make assumptions that you're seeing celebrities having babies at 50, that you can have kids when you're 50. Yeah. So yeah, just do the research, do it as early as possible. And then also, you can also save money then if you know earlier that you might need that. So yeah, just
that's a good point.
Just read up.
We didn't talk about how thick all these wallets are in this room. That like I can't imagine just like a middle American like 9-to-5 salary makes this easy
without the ability to leave work or get your appointments done. Like you have to make.
Yeah, well, we're all very lucky, huh? Mama?
I just want to say that I think everyone here is a kick-ass woman and a kick-ass mom in the future. Have a baby, don't have a baby, freeze your eggs, sell your eggs, have an abortion, have 16 fucking kids with 16 guys. We will not have 16 kids. I just think you should do whatever you want, whatever's right for you and your life and your body and your family.
That's great.
That's right.
Ending on the law.
I will say, check your insurance policies.
Yes, girl.
Because a big difference between $15,000 and $0 out of your pocket. A lot of times they'll do it twice, and if you only have to do it once, sometimes they'll pay for you actually to be fertilized. Check your insurance policies, and don't ask the men in your firm, call HR.
Yes.
Because a lot of people don't know. With respect to mine, I know I said it was painful and it was tough and all the other things. I wasn't even sure I wanted to have kids. If you asked me if I would go back and do it, I would do it 1,000%, because if anything else, I may not use them, I may do it, but the fact that I have a choice, and that makes all of the difference. If I wait 10 years and decide I want it, amazing. If I would have, and knowing looking back, I would have done it earlier. I wasn't sure. It actually took a shitty person I was dating to be like, oh, why would you not want the choice? And I was like, you're a moron, but that's an accurate. Yeah. Actually, Dana was like, the one good thing he brought was the idea of like, hey, you have someone to be like, I was never going to. And so I would say this, check your insurance policies. Do it if you have the choice and the resources. There's no harm in getting it done, and then you have the choice. And if you decide not to do it, research or someone else gets it. If you decide you do want it, you get a little baby that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to have.
I want to end, but I had one quick question. Do you need to have insurance to be a donator?
A donor. No, usually the company will cover you.
Whoa!
So all of your medical and cover, like when it has to do something with the with anything with the donation process, it's all covered for you.
Good to know. That's a good thing to end on. You guys, thank you so much for this. I know that I was going to chop this into 2 episodes, but I actually think this is just an extra long episode.
This was a beautiful episode.
An hour and a half. Yeah, and I'm so thankful for all of you guys for being honest and open and sharing your stories. I think it's because of women like you that are willing to talk about this kind of stuff that we do change the world. Like, for instance, I don't think I would have ever really had the time or space to change my mind unless you just did, Devin, and talked about it and brought up all those great points. So do your research, stay in school or don't, it doesn't matter. Do drugs, get it out of your system early. Rate this podcast on iTunes. It very, very, very much helps. You can always Instagram us or tweet us at ConfidentlyPod. You can always send us an email at ConfidentlyInsecurepodcast@gmail.com, and we will see you next time. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.